Hello, my name is Jason O, and welcome to my review for the anime Haikyuu. This is in preparation for season 2 coming out here. Definitely, it's sort of following a typical sort of storyline you're seeing from more sports anime. You know, I'm not going to reveal what happens at the end, but the ending is very similar to a very recent sports anime and Kuroko's basketball, very similar to that, and so it's sort of following that sort of trope and sort of storylines we see in typical sports anime. But definitely season 2, very excited for that, and to see where our characters go. I'm assuming I know it's going to happen, because if you've ever watched sports anime, it's kind of much the same thing most of the time, especially the team sports, particularly, you know, for instance, tennis and like ping pong animation, very different, it's because individual sports, but for team sports, typically the same thing. It's all about the team, the camaraderie, all about that, the characters, more slice of life in a way, rather than a whole huge storyline that we typically see in other anime. It came out in the spring of 2014 and basically follows Shoyo Hinata in the beginning stages of the series, where he doesn't really get a chance to play volleyball because his middle school wasn't really that big into volleyball. He really loved the sport because of this guy named the quote Little Giant. We didn't really see him in the first season, spoiler alerts, kind of. We see glimpses of him and sort of inspirations that Hinata does have, because he is very small, and obviously volleyball does favor the tall most of the time. Most sports typically favor taller players, but Hinata is very determined to become a great volleyball player, the ace, per se. If you're not familiar with volleyball terms, the ace is sort of the go-to player in the sport, and definitely that's what Hinata wants to be, just like his idol, the Little Giants. That's why he goes to, in high school, Karasuno, because that's where the Little Giants went, and his rival in middle school is Tobio Kageyama. Definitely the middle school versions of the series only taken the first episode. It's all about their high school life, and these two opposites attracting to becoming a very powerful combination. Hinata being a very powerful striker, and Tobio Kageyama being a very powerful setter, and it's very much into these tropes into volleyball, and they really get into the sort of dynamics into that, the positions a little bit here and there, a lot more than I've seen in typical sports anime. I really do like that, because a volleyball anime makes the tropes that you see in sports anime a lot more fresher. You do get a sense that this does feel something like new and fresh and original in a way, even though it kind of isn't in some certain aspects. There are some things, like little things they do as different from a sports anime, but the whole overall aspect of this being a volleyball anime is definitely very much different than we typically see in other, like basketball, baseball, all the other types of anime we've seen in the past. For that the anime is mostly about the team aspect, the whole team camaraderie. We do get a lot of that, a lot of emotional moments, especially at the end for the series. Hinata, Kageyama, their relationship is very much put to the test in the beginning stages, but then later on, Kageyama's character is the one that goes through much more growth because of his character type. He's more of a sort of misunderstood genius per se. He's very much socially awkward, and he does think he's better than everyone else, but secretly he wants friends in a way, and Kageyama does go through a lot more character growth than Hinata, who does seem to be the central main character. I would say both of them are more central main characters, and definitely Kageyama is one of my favorite characters in the series because of that character growth that we do see. Hinata, I like how we don't get too much of him because his character type is very shonen. He's over the top, overexcited. He is very the underdog per se, and also typical shonen tropes where he is a goofball most of the time, but he's secretly athletic, he's secretly gifted, and we don't get too much of his character, which I do like. We get spurts of that. We do see some of the other characters, and their characters are perfectly well developed in the short amount of time that they get. Again, it's mostly about Kageyama and Hinata for most part of the series, but we do get some inklings of some of the other side characters, which I do enjoy. They're very good side characters, contrasting with our main characters. If you're a big fan of sports anime, I would recommend this sort of sports anime, because I've watched a couple of them. Of course, Slam Dunk, Kuroko's Basketball, Prince of Tennis. Those are some pretty good sports anime that I've watched in the past. But this one, again, with the volleyball aspect, makes it much more original, quote-unquote original, but more of a fresher sort of feel to the genre of a shonen sports anime. It's obviously very dramatic, over the top, and all that stuff there that you would like in a sports anime, or if you want something else from a sports anime, of course, there's some other ones out there as well. But Haikyuu does a really good job at balancing the dramatic portions with the comedic versions of the show, and I really like that. I mean, there's even a one-shot manga combining Nisekyuu and Haikyuu called Nisekyuu. I don't think it's how you pronounce that. It's a 2013 one-shot manga. I've not read it. I just heard about it very recently while I do research Haikyuu and just sort of the backstory and all the other stuff there. Very interesting crossover featuring, of course, the main characters of Nisekyuu with some of the main characters in Haikyuu and Hinata, Kageyama, and Tanaka. And so very cool idea. It'd be very interesting if they did that in an OVA. I'm not sure if the production backstory on that, because like Shaft and Production IG, I'm not sure if they're ever related or anything like that. Any sort of crossovers could ever happen with there. That'd be pretty cool to see if that would ever to occur. But definitely the series compositioner and the director have stories, background in Usagi Drop. I've heard very good things about Usagi Drop, on how it's very good and all that stuff there, the things they do in that anime, how it's very different and very original, very good for non-anime fans. And so I've never really seen Usagi Drop before. It's on my list of anime to watch, but still, that's the background on that. And everyone else is coming back for Haikyuu season 2, so that's very good there. You're probably going to see more of the same animation style. It's very good. The one complaint about the animation style, however, is that when the characters are behind the nets, like their face overtakes the nets for the volleyball nets there, and so it's very distracting at some points, especially if you're not binge watching the show. If you're just going through a weekly periodical sort of manner, if you're watching these episodes, it's very distracting in a way when their faces are just go over the nets, even though they're supposed to be on the other side of the nets. So that's a very weird thing they do with the animation style. I get they want to get the characters involved in most of the dialogue scenes, but still it's very distracting at times, and so that's my only complaint about the animation style of this series. Again, it's a very fun sports anime. It has a fresher feel to it because it's a volleyball anime. I don't think there's many volleyball anime centered stories out there, at least so far as to my knowledge. So definitely very much enjoyed all that for a fresher type of feel. And so for a rating, I'm giving this series a 7 out of 10. Again, really fun, very comedic. The dramatic tensions you do feel because you do care for these characters and the whole team itself in Karasuno. Even the minor characters do get their time to shine, not in a very cliche sort of way, but in a very interesting sort of way, getting into the background, the psychology of athletes and all that stuff there. Really gets much more into that than any other anime that I've seen recently, and so I really did enjoy that for Haikyuu. Have you seen this anime before, or are you interested in this at all, or interested in season 2? Are you very excited for it? If you've already seen this series, put all your opinions and thoughts in the comment section down below. We'd really like to hear what you guys think about Haikyuu. Anyway, thank you for watching my review for the anime Haikyuu. Again, very excited for season 2. I'm curious what's going to happen. I kind of know what's going to happen in a plot aspect, but just the little things is what you care about in sort of cliche sort of storylines here. So I'm curious about the little things that they're going to do in season 2 of Haikyuu. Very excited for all that there. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked it. Share this video as well. It'll really help me out. Really appreciate all that. Guys, have a nice day. Bye bye.